Thank you. Well, it is good to be here today. The last time I was in this room or this facility was at John's wedding, and there were miniature donkeys outside serving beer. So today is a little different. I asked my wife, I was like, do you think John brought those donkeys in, or do they actually stay at the country club? So I hope I can see the donkeys later. But it's an honor to be here today. Like he said, I'm from Katy, Texas, right outside Houston. Most people call that East San Antonio. And so in Houston, they do, East San Antonio. There we go. I'm coming off the car. And so it's good to be here today. Today, I got to give the talk last week in Houston, and I told them what I'm going to tell you today. I promised one of my buddies this is not a motivational talk, so you don't have to worry about finding the 3 secrets of success. We're just going to talk about my life, and we're going to talk about this interesting path that led us to building a theme park. Growing up, and we're going to talk about my life in a second, I lived in a small town, a couple small towns along the way, but one of them, there was a guy in town who was very successful, a lot of prominence in the city, owned a large chicken company, and people loved to go hear him speak around town. He got to keynote a bunch of events, a bunch of fundraisers. He was the guy that you wanted to go hear speak. And the 2 reasons you wanted to hear him speak were, 1, because he had a great story to tell. And then 2, his famous thing that he did was that he would tape a $100 bill under every one of the chairs in the room and give it to the audience as a thank you. I did not do that today, so do not get excited. But what I did do, other than that, I don't have $100 to give you, but we're going to talk about my theme park here in a second that's in Katy. We're very blessed. We have a lot of people come from San Antonio, so it's not that far away. But what we'd like to do, I don't know if we have the slide in the back. If you go onto our website and buy tickets, I'd like to get, code Toolbox. It took me a while to come up with it. That's a free code to get as many tickets as you want, all right? That's my gift to you guys for enduring me talking to you for 30 minutes today. But I'd love for you to come. I'd love for your family to come. I'd love for your neighbors to come. I'd love for you to have friends in Houston that you send. We'd love to just host them, show them the park. And so code Toolbox will get you as many free tickets as you want. If we get overrun, I'll just shut it down. But I do know from last week, we've had quite a few use them already, so please do that. Again, we're open a lot over the Christmas holidays. Would love to, again, host you, serve you, show you the park that I'm going to tell you about today, so code Toolbox. Again, honored to be here today. We're going to talk a little bit about my life. We're going to talk about this interesting path that the Lord has put my wife and I on and how we got here today. Like I said, I was born and raised all over. My dad ran hospitals, and so the house that I'm living in today is the longest that I've ever lived in one location, which is weird to me. I've been there 10 years. Normally, we were 3 years in this city, 4 years in this city. We were on to the next one, multiple high schools for myself and my siblings. And then I went to Texas A&M. Like John said, now he's jinxed us. We're not going to win. We're not going to beat Miami now, so thanks. We met at Texas A&M. I met my wife there. I told myself as I went in as a freshman that there was no way I was going to date anybody freshman year, not getting locked down, right? I'm going to play the field, see what's out there. We started dating freshman year, got married 4 years later. I do tell people we have confirmed that we did break up for like 15 minutes at some point junior or senior year. And we were both fairly confident because I said something stupid. And so by the time she got to her car and halfway back to her house, we were back together. But we did break up for 15 minutes along the way. And like I said, we live in Katy, Texas. We moved there, and I didn't know what to do. I honestly had no clue what I wanted to do in life. I knew I graduated from A&M. I knew I enjoyed talking to people. I knew I just enjoyed getting out there, and I couldn't be in a cubicle. And so I did quite a few random things. It was fun last week. My very first boss ever was in the audience, and I told the crowd that the best day in Rob's life was the day that I quit because he realized he didn't have to fire me then. And so he didn't have to come to me because I guarantee it was imminent. He was probably a week or 2 away from me like, dude, you're terrible at this job. Don't ask me what I did. Still don't know what I was supposed to do there. It took me quite a while to figure out. I think it dawned on me a couple years later. I was like, that was my job. Okay, got it. I left there, I left oil and gas, I worked at a church in town, left there, worked at a small janitorial company in town, left there and went and sold life insurance. And honestly, that's where I thought I would end up. I was at a life insurance company, a big firm in Houston, and honestly, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed getting out there talking to everybody. I enjoyed trying to sell. I enjoyed the hustle and the grind, and honestly thought I'd be there for quite a while. A mentor of mine came to me in 2015, and he said, hey, I've got this idea. I've done very well in life. It's kind of the second half of my life. I want to help young entrepreneurs go and launch a company and kind of give them their MBA through the School of Hard Knocks. I said, cool, sounds like a great idea. And he said, yeah, you want to do it? I was like, no, absolutely not. That sounds like a terrible idea. And so he said, I tell you what, go home, think of an idea or two that I should like pursue or reach out to somebody to pursue, and then I'll go do it. I said, okay, fine. I've always had this knack of generating ideas, most of them bad. And so I kept coming up with different ideas. And I said, hey, listen, we went back to lunch. I said, hey, listen, I've got this idea. There's a subcategory in the cleaning space of construction cleaning. And I think you can make money there. Don't ask me how you make money there. I just think you can. He said, great, when do you want to start? And I said, great, I'm not doing that. I told you I was not going to do it. I just figured out this life insurance thing. We're about to have our first kid. Dude, there's no way on God's green earth. He said, I tell you what, go home, talk to Melissa about it, just let me know. And so as any good husband, I said, deal. Because my wife is a CPA, risk-adverse, change-hating individual. So I was like, this is fantastic. I'll just blame her, right? I'll go to dinner, I'll say, hey, Mark's got this idea. What do you think? She's going to say, heck no. And I'll go, oh, man, I wanted to do it, but Melissa said no. And so we went to dinner. We went to a pizza place in the Heights. I'll never forget it. She was super pregnant. I said, hey, Mark's got this crazy idea. He thinks I can go start this cleaning business. I kind of put together this little business plan for him. What do you think I should do? And she said, you should do it. And I was like, gosh dang, how pregnant are you? Like, you are just super pregnant right now because I don't think you realize what you said. I said, it could all go wrong. She said, yeah, but what if it all goes right? I was like, oh, it's a good counter argument there. Normally the roles would be reversed right here, and I would be having that argument. And so I took Mark to lunch, and I said, okay, I'll tell you what, I'm in. I'll do it. I don't know anything about anything, but I'll do it. And he said, great. I want you to meet my business partner. We're going to go to lunch with him tomorrow. He's going to write the second check. I tell you this story to show you how much I did not know about business. Guys, my degree at Texas A&M does not exist anymore because it was that easy. I'm not joking. I found that out like 6 months ago. The university canceled it. They're like, it's too easy. Like, people are actually graduating with this degree. We have to get rid of it. And so I didn't know anything about anything. I failed accounting twice. I did not know the ups and downs of business terminology, anything like that. So here I am. I'm with a very successful business guy, and this guy that I just met. I've never met him before, and we're eating lunch at this Mexican restaurant in town. Very successful consulting career, so he knows the ins and outs of everything, right? And I'll never forget, I can tell you exactly where we were sitting. I can tell you exactly what everybody was wearing because he asked me the most terrifying question ever. He said, Jacob, it makes sense to me. I get what we're trying to do here. What kind of EBITDA does a business like this produce? That's a foreign language to me. I literally never heard that word before in my life, right? I'm like, what did you say? And he said, what kind of EBITDA does a business produce in this category? So listen, we're at a ministry event, so I'm gonna be honest with you. You've got two choices in that moment. You either say, what do you mean when you say that? Or you lie. So I lied. And so I looked at him dead in the face. This is a true story. I looked him dead in the face as confident as I could, and I said, a really good one. And he said, what? And I said, a really good one. And luckily, Mark jumped in because he knew I was scrambling, had no idea what I was talking about. He's like, it should be like 20% or something. I was like, yeah, 20%. That's what I meant. So I say that to show you I had no idea about anything. And so here these guys are. They stroke me this check. They say, hey, go start this business. So I was out there just hustling, trying to figure it out. We were out there trying to clean anything that needed to be cleaned. And life was going great. We had our first kid. We started, Pierce was born on May 26, 2015, and we started One Stone Solutions on June 1st, 2015. And if you want a good motivator to get out of the house and sell something, is a crying baby in the next room. And we just were out there hustling and trying to just figure out life. We were trying to figure out life. We had been married about 3 years at this point, so still, young married couple. You throw a baby in the mix and you're trying to figure that out. And then you're throwing out this new rhythm of like, I don't really know what to do today. I'm this entrepreneur all of a sudden. I think I'm just supposed to go generate business somehow. And so we're just figuring everything out. We moved out to Katy during that time. My in-laws are out there, and so they said, hey, if you move out here, we'll kind of be your full-time daycare. And so we moved out there, found an amazing house, and life just, honestly, guys, it was great. Life progressed just fine. We had the ebbs and flows of a new business, and the good days, the bad days, the late nights, the lost accounts, the won accounts, all that kind of stuff, but life just felt good, right? And I remember I was on I-10, I was driving home one day, and I was on the phone with one of my best friends, and it's so funny how memories like this stand out years later. And I just remember saying to him, man, life is good right now. Like, I honestly have no complaints about anything right now. We figured out how to make money. Melissa's job's great. Pierce is great. House is great. Church is great. And life was just good. I remember it was end of January. I was supposed to teach. That week went on. I was supposed to teach Sunday school that weekend. And I remember it's funny how the Lord prepares you for things that you don't know you're being prepared for, right? And I was supposed to teach a lesson on Judges 7. It was just kind of just in the curriculum. Like, there was no special thing about it. I didn't pick it out. Like, it just kind of fell in line with what the church was doing. And Judges 7 talks about, it's the story of Gideon, right? It's the story of Gideon's army, how God whittles it down from 22,000 men to 300 men. That's quite a cut, all right? 22,000 people that were going to go fight. And God said, no, through a series of events, I'm going to cut it down. I'm going to whittle it down to 300 because, Gideon, when I get done with this and we win, I don't want any of you to think you did it. I want you to know that I did it. And I remember that was the lesson I was going to teach. It was a Monday, and I was going to teach Sunday school the next Sunday, and just kind of preparing through that lesson and really kind of being in awe of that and really taking in that number. And then Wednesday that week, my oldest Pierce got sick. He got sick. It was just a normal Wednesday, and my wife called and said, hey, he's got a fever. I'm going to take him to the doctor. I don't know what's going on, but I think he's not feeling well. Great, cool. Let's take him to the doctor. Go to the doctor, and the doctor said, hey, listen, it's a normal kid cold, right? He'll be fine. Give him some Tylenol. Just let him sleep it off. Like, it's just a kid sickness. Okay, great. We're new parents. We don't know up from down. Great. Go home. Thursday comes around, it gets a little bit better. Kids kind of rebound amazingly. I've learned that as I get older, I get like a cold, I'm out for a week and a half. It's like I just feel terrible. Kids, it's like 24 hours and they're ready to go, run through a wall. And so he starts to get a little bit better. Friday comes, he gets worse again. And so my wife's amazing mother intuition kicks in. She said, I got to take him back into the doctor. Something's not right. Takes it back into the doctor. The doctor said, hey, listen, I still stand by what I said. It's just a kid cold. Like, I get you're concerned. I get he doesn't look great. Like, I get that, but let's give him some medicine, and we'll just call it a weekend. And if he's still got a fever on Monday, y'all come back in. We'll take a look at him again. Okay, cool. We go home. I come home later that afternoon. I remember looking at Pierce, and my wife said there's just something wrong with him. I remember looking at him and going, man, his eyes, it's so crazy. I remember his eyes were just, in my mind, they were gone. Like, you can look at somebody and you're just like, you're not there. And I remember going, he's not right. I agree with you. He's not right. So we took him to the little ER right outside our neighborhood, one of those places that's like for, you break your arm or whatever it may be. And so we go in there, and they said, hey, no, we agree with your doctor. Like, we can't really see anything wrong. Honestly, we would just give him some Pedialyte and let him sleep. Like, he just needs sleep. Okay, cool. Great. Go home Friday night, put him to bed. Saturday morning comes, slept through the night, and I'll never forget it. I can tell you exactly what was going on. I can tell you I was not wearing shoes. I can tell you I was wearing a black Nike shorts. I was wearing a A&M pullover. Melissa was in a sweatshirt and pajama pants, no shoes on. And it got to be about 8:30, 8:45, and she said, hey, listen, I need to go check on him. Like, he's sleeping a little too long. Okay, that sounds right. And I'll never forget, she walked into his room, and I can still hear a scream that I hope to never hear again in my life. And she came running out, holding him, and he was completely limp. And when I say limp, guys, I'm talking like you see in a movie, right? Just completely limp, holding him. And she said, just screaming. And I remember just saying, get in the car, get in the car, get in the car. And we both run out, no shoes on, pajamas on. We get in the car. I speed out of the neighborhood. We go back to that same ER that we were at the night before. Again, great facility, but just not made for this, right? And so I remember running in, screaming, keep him alive. Just please keep him alive. We couldn't get his eyes to come back. His eyes would roll in the back of his head, shallow breathing. And they rushed us back. And again, they're not equipped for this. And so they just start pumping him full of drugs. I mean, they're just like, let's get an IV. We got to get something going. We don't know what's going on. We kind of need to like jumpstart him again. They call an ambulance, golly, it felt like the ambulance took 75 minutes to get there. It probably took 5 minutes, but I remember waiting outside in the parking lot. I'd run back in and go, is he still alive? I'd run back out and I'd wait for the ambulance, and I was trying to figure out where they were, and they just took forever to get them to get there. They get there, they put them on the ambulance, they take us to Texas Children's West Campus out in Katy, where we were living. They go in, they rush us back to the trauma area, and the doctor, he looks at me, he says, hey, you come with me, let's go do a CT scan on him. And I remember in the CT scan, I was in the room with the doctor, and he was looking at the screen, and he was watching these images come back in, and he radioed, he said, we need to get this kid down to the med center stat. And I didn't know why. I knew enough to know that wasn't good, right? And so an ambulance comes, and if you're familiar with anything in Houston or Texas Children's as a whole, I'm sure the Children's Hospital in San Antonio has something along these lines, but there's a group of individuals that are a part of what's called the Kangaroo Crew. And the Kangaroo Crew is a specialized ICU-trained doctors and nurses that transport kids. They transport them on planes and ambulances and helicopters and all this kind of stuff. I always tell people, if you work at Texas Children's, I now view you as somebody that's like a Navy SEAL. Like you're awesome. Like you're the best of the best, in my opinion. If you're on the Kangaroo Crew, you're SEAL Team 6. You're another level, and I don't ever want to see you, right? Like you're the guys that, like, if you show up, something's not good, right? So they show up. I remember Tony was the driver, and I remember Tony put his arm around me, and he said, hey, listen, Dad, I need you to get in the car with your parents, because you can't come in the ambulance. Mom can come with us, but you can't come with us. And we're going to go down to the med center, okay? Do you understand what I'm saying? We're going to go down to the med center. I need you to follow me, and we're going to get you down to the med center. Okay, yeah, got it. And what I would later learn, when Tony would come back and talk to me later, he said, I got in the car, I shut the door, I looked at my partner, I said, that dad's not going to see his kid alive by the time we get to the med center. He's not going to make it. Luckily, Tony was wrong. We get to the med center, they rush him in, go into the ICU. Super Bowl Sunday in Houston. I remember that. It was when Tom Brady came back and won one of his 19 championships. And I remember the week, it was just busy down there. And we get in, and the doctors come in a couple hours later and say, hey, good news, bad news. Good news, we know what it is. Bad news, we know what it is. He's contracted bacterial meningitis. He's got the worst kind that's out there. And he's probably not going to make it 48 hours. Okay? So what do? We wait. Okay. We sat there. We waited. Pierce got a little bit better. So on a Sunday, got a little bit better. Monday, got a little bit better. And I remember a doctor came in and said, hey, we can't really explain what's going on, but he's getting better. And so we're going to transport him out of the ICU to just a normal unit. Okay, great. That's awesome. Sounds fantastic. Again, I don't know anything about what's going on. I grew up around hospitals. My dad is not a doctor. He's an administrator. But like we still like didn't understand what was going on, right? And I remember on the way out of the ICU, a doctor grabs me on the arm. He says, hey, I need you to understand something. I don't think you're out of the woods yet. And I remember thinking, dude, you are a negative Nancy. Man, I'm like, I don't want to hear that right now. He's like, hey, I just need you to understand, I don't think you're out of the woods yet. I was like, okay, sounds good. And we go to a normal room, and we're there. It's Tuesday night. It's 2 a.m. in the morning. Young doctor comes in. She comes in just to do her routine check. And I remember it vividly for a lot of reasons. But one, we were sitting there, and, it's 2 a.m. in the morning, and so you're like, I got nothing else to talk about. And I know she's wearing an Aggie ring. I said, oh, did you go to A&M? Yeah, I did. Great. What year? Great. We do that whole song and dance, right? And I say that because it was in the many, M-I-N-I, miracles that God showed us along the way. And what happened in that conversation is it delayed her hanging out in our room just a little bit longer, talking about A&M. And during that hangout, Pierce's foot started twitching. And she said, does he do that often? I said, I've never seen him do that. She said, okay, hold on, I'm going to watch him again. And he did it again. She said, I think he's having a seizure. And she went over and she slapped the wall and hit code red. Sirens start going off. People start showing up again. They transport him back down to the ICU. She said, I think he's seizing. This is not good. So we go back down to the ICU. If you know anything about a seizure, if you have a seizure that lasts more than 5 minutes, you're going to sustain some type of brain damage, right? You're going to get something's going to go wrong. Pierce seized for 18 hours straight before they put him into a medically induced coma. He was in the coma, and I remember a doctor came in and said, hey, listen, it's not good. We're going to take some pictures of his brain, and we're going to go over them in a couple days. I said, okay, great. So they called us back into a room a couple days later, Melissa and I, and it was just like that. It was just like a scene off of a TV show. They call you back there, and a nurse takes you back there, and there's 3 doctors in white coats sitting at a table, and they don't look happy, right? This is the worst part of their job. They say, hey, we need you to sit down. We're going to go over some images. So we go over images, and again, I didn't go to med school, right? Remember we talked about my degree doesn't even exist anymore. And they started showing me pictures of his brain. They showed me 6 pictures. And I remember all pictures, it was as white as this sign. It was just a glowing white brain. And I remember thinking to myself, oh, okay. Looks as normal as it could look to me, right? I mean, I don't know what I'm looking at. It looks great. They said, hey, anywhere where you saw bright white is a dead brain. And it wasn't until the 6th picture did I see gray brain. And I remember going, what's that? And they're like, well, that's his vital organs. He can still breathe on his own, and that's good. I'm like, yeah, that is good. They said, so what this means is maybe, just maybe, in a few days we'll be able to try to pull him out of his coma. But we need you to know right now that Pierce is never going to be the same again. He's never going to walk again. He's never going to talk again. He's not going to know who you are. He's going to essentially be a vegetable. And we need you to go ahead and wrap your minds around that. They said, do you want us to tell your parents or do you want to tell your parents? I said, I'll tell them. You can call them in. And I remember my parents came in, my siblings came in, my in-laws came in, my sister-in-law came in. And I'll never forget having that meeting, right? Going, hey, listen, Pierce, it looks like Pierce is going to get to go home with us, but Pierce is going to come home a different kid. And what that started is a long 75 days in the hospital where we would learn the ups and downs of life, and we would see miracle upon miracle, and we would see tragedy upon tragedy. I saw more kids die those 75 days than I've been to funerals combined my entire life. I've seen the depths of the depths, and I've seen the highs of the highs, and I've seen God show up in amazing ways, and I've seen people go, where is this God that you talk about, right? I remember one day they were pulling him out of his coma, and the doctor came in, Spencer Pruitt, that's who my youngest is named after. He saved Pierce's life, and he said, hey, listen, I need you to know something. About 2 a.m. this morning, he's going to start to really come out of his coma, and it's going to be awful to watch. He's essentially been a 2-year-old drug addict for the last 13 days. And we're going to start pulling everything out of his system, and his body's going to start to reject that. And he's going to start screaming and moving around, and it's going to be really bad. I just need you to know that. Know that we're in control. We know that. We know it's coming. It's going to be okay, okay? Okay, all right. And man, he wasn't wrong. 2:05, boom. Man, it was like demons. I mean, it was crazy. I mean, he was freaking out and crying and screaming, and you can't communicate with him. He doesn't know what's going on. He's deaf. He's nonverbal. Just a different kid than I had 13 days ago. And I remember trying to pin him down. I remember nurses saying, hold him down. I'm trying to hold him down. And finally, my mother-in-law comes in, and it was about 5 a.m. at this point. We've been fighting for about 3 hours, and she taps us on the shoulder. She said, hey, listen, I'm in, you're out. I got it from here. Y'all go back to the hotel across the street. Y'all rest for a second, shower, come back over. We got it. We got it. Remember the doctor said we got it. I said, okay. And guys, I'm going to tell you, I walked back to that hotel, went a long walk, and I did not have a great convo with God. I had a very frustrating convo with God. Jesus, where are you? What kind of God would allow this? What kind of God would make me watch that with my 2-year-old son? Haven't we gone through enough? Where are you? You've left me now? You left me now at 2 a.m. in the morning? It's freezing cold out here. It's raining. It's dark. Where did you go? Why would you do this to me right now? I remember going in, we showered, we took a nap for like an hour or so. About 7 a.m., we walked back, and guys, just out of and God hit me, called the 2x4 experiences, right? In the book of Mark, we see the disciples, they're on this boat, this thrashing waves and storm, and Jesus is asleep. And they go back there and they go, what are you doing? There's a storm out here, man. Are you just going to sleep through this thing? And he stands up and he says, whoa, you have little faith. Have you not learned anything? And boom, calms the storm. We walk out of that hotel, and guys, it was bright blue skies, just like it is today, calm winds. I said, okay. Guy started talking to me on the way over there. He goes, I haven't left you yet. What are you talking about? I don't make mistakes. Walk back in, and Pierce is sitting in his bed, and they'd calmed him down. He was happy, content. And I heard, just as much as I'm hearing to you or talking to you today, guy goes, I haven't left you. Do you not have any faith? I'm right here. I know you don't know what's going on. I know you don't get this storm. I know you don't understand the process. I know you don't understand the end story, but I'm right here. I've been here the whole time, and I'm not going anywhere. And so we stayed in that hospital a few more weeks, and when we left with a different kid, right? As I mentioned earlier, the doctors were right about most things. They were wrong about a lot of things, but they were right about most things. Pierce is deaf. He's nonverbal. I haven't heard him talk since February 3rd, 2017. He's epileptic. He has about 100 seizures a day. He's in a wheelchair. But the things they were wrong about is that boy's not a vegetable. That boy knows who I am. He loves when I come home. He knows who his grandpas are, his favorite people in the world. He knows who my wife is. He knows who his siblings are. He knows these things, and he loves deeply, and he's a happy, happy boy. I tell you that to say that out of this tragedy, God said, okay, we have this new life. What are we going to do with it now? And as we started to figure out this new life and what that looked like and said, hey, how do we start raising a special needs kid? Like we've been doing this life thing for the last 2 years, raising a kid. Now we got a special needs kid. We can't talk to him. He doesn't understand what's going on anymore. What do we do? So we started down this journey of life, and we really started wrestling with, okay, well, what's next? And so the 3 points that I want to leave you with today, we got a few more minutes I want to run over, is the 3 points that the Lord has walked me through over the last few years, and that led us to building a theme park, right? And so as we started coming out, we had this deep, deep desire to bring people together. And so my first point that I want to share with you today, and my challenge to you today, is dare to dream. It's free, right? Mike Tomlin, the coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers, he has a quote. He says, when we were kids, we dreamed wildly. As we grow up, we dream realistically. We shouldn't. I got where I am today by being a ridiculous dreamer. That's my challenge to you today. I don't care how young you are, how old you are, I don't care. As we get older, we stop dreaming more and more, right? Life hits, reality hits, that didn't pan out, this didn't happen, that relationship didn't go the way that I wanted it to go, that contract didn't land, and we just stop dreaming. Slowly but surely, we stop dreaming, right? And we become grumpy and realistic or whatever we want to call it, right? But we stop dreaming. My challenge to you is that the Lord puts dreams and desires in our hearts so that we can go chase crazy dreams. My challenge to you is whatever that crazy dream is that's in your heart, that you're wrestling with, that you've been wrestling with for years, or maybe it's a new dream that you're wrestling with, I challenge you to lean into it. So Melissa and I started sitting there, we're going, okay, what do we do now? What do we do with this? And we had a deep, deep desire to just bring people together. We learned that life was short, life is sweet. We know those things, right? We know those things. We're competent adults. We know that life is short, right? Until you experience it, and a lot of you in this room have experienced that, when you get hit with tragedy, suddenly you do realize that life is short. So you go, okay, what am I going to do with this? And so we just wanted to create something that brought people together. So what does any rational, normal thinking adult do? You say, let's build a theme park, right? That seems very logical. And so I said, hey, listen, I got this crazy idea. Pierce loves construction equipment. He loves garbage trucks. Let's build a construction theme park. Let's let 3-year-olds operate real construction equipment. And everybody's like, you are crazy. No. Hear me out. I'm just going to actually let them drive the skid steer. And they're like, no, I know. You're crazy. And I kept going, no, I know it's going to work, right? I know it's going to work. And so we decided to build a theme park. I've been in the commercial cleaning space, so it seemed like a logical leap, right? To go straight into customer service and hospitality. You know nothing about anything. And I would go to these industry events, and they go, great, so where'd you work? And I go, I got a cleaning company. And I go, oh, good Lord. It's gonna be a tough road to hoe, kid. Like, no, we can build it. We can do it. So my challenge to you is dare to dream. It didn't cost us anything to dream a crazy dream, right? It didn't cost us a deadgum thing. So my challenge, point 1, is dare to dream because it's free. Point number 2, operate out of imagination, not memory. Operate out of imagination, not memory. A lot of us come into work, life, relationships, whatever it may be, with nothing but bad memories. We had that boss that told us we couldn't do it. We had that family member that said we weren't smart enough. We had those parents that said we weren't good enough. We have that brother that says you're never going to amount to anything. We have those memories that constantly play on repeat. I remember when I left the company, my boss, the day I quit, he told me, he said, hey, listen, I'm going to tell you something before you get out of my office. I'm going to call you in 8 years. You're going to start at 8 companies, and all 8 are going to be failures. Get out of my office. And guys, I'm not going to lie to you. That memory still plays on repeat in my mind. I still have to overcome that all the time. Am I a fraud? Am I imposter syndrome? Have I really done anything? I know what that feeling is, right? But imagination says, yeah, but you could go build a theme park. I know you've never done anything like that, but you can figure it out. Imagination says you can go do it. Memory says, don't do that. It's risky. Guys, when we started, we hit the fundraising trail, and a lot of you have spent time raising money, and there quite possibly couldn't be anything worse in the world, right? Like pitching people for money, right? Like you've got your heart and soul into something, you go in, and that person just shoots you down. It's like, it's the biggest emotional roller coaster out there. It's awful, right? So we started, and very arrogantly, I was like, you know what? I think it's going to take me like 6 months to raise this money. Everybody's going to love this idea. Yeah. We went back and counted. Thank goodness I was not counting in the moment because I would have stopped. 248 meetings that told me no before we got a yes. 248 no's that said, you're dumb, it's never gonna work, you don't know anything about theme park space, you've never run a theme park. What are you talking about? 240, there's not 248 people in this room. If I sat through this entire room and you told me how ridiculous I was, that'd be painful and exhausting. 248 times of people saying, don't do that. It's never gonna work, you're never gonna raise any money, you're never gonna get anything done, it's just a pipe dream. That's crazy. Memory would have said, shut it down. Memory would have said, you know what, my old boss is right. All those people are right. I don't know anything about anything. I had just figured, I did know what EBITDA was at this time, finally. But you don't know anything about anything, so just shut it down, right? Just shut it down. But we kept going. We raised the money. And then here we are at grand opening. We did it. We finally did it, guys. We opened the theme park. How did grand opening go? Man, if I could sum up in a sentence how grand opening went, I would say an utter disaster failure. That's how it went. There's two people in documented theme park history. I've learned a lot about theme parks now. I am a theme park guy now. I go to a theme park conference every year in Orlando, so I am official. There's two people with documented disastrous grand openings, like disastrous. Walt Disney and Jacob Robinson. So at least I'm keeping good company, is what I tell people. His was terrible. You can look it up. It was called Black Friday. It was a terrible day. Ours was awful. Guys, there was so much excitement and buzz around our grand opening. I was on cloud nine. I was getting interviewed by every news outlet under the sun. I was doing international interviews, everything in Texas, all out from out of New York. Guys, there were helicopters flying over our park on grand opening. That's how excited people were. We did it. We told all 248 people to shove it, right? We did it. And it could not have gone worse. We were overrun with people. We didn't have enough machines ready to go. If you come to Dig World now, I hope, if this is wrong, I want you to come and find me and tell me. My average wait, I'd like you to wait 8 to 10 minutes to get on an attraction. That'd be like on our busy times. We try to time it where it's 8 to 10 minutes wait because our target demo is a 3-year-old, right? I get it. I've got some. That day, the average wait was about 1:45. It was awful. Getting cussed at, getting yelled at. We started out with a 1.2 Google rating. You have to work real hard to get that bad. Like you got to be like real bad to get that low. I've learned that takes a serious concentrated effort to be that bad on Google. So we shut the park down. I went in my office that Thursday afternoon. I said, just shut it down. We can't open tomorrow. We can't open tomorrow. We can't open Saturday. We can't open Sunday. We just got to shut it down. This is going terribly. We can't afford to have 3 more days like this. We're going to go out of business before we even start. So shut it down. So all those news outlets that covered our grand opening, every single one of them covered our grand closing. I was on the news the next day, KPRC Houston. It was the Dead Gum Gotcha segment. I was on, and they were interviewing me about the grand closing and how many people are upset and blah, blah, blah. And then, boom, they threw up this other mom that drove in from California with her daughter, Susie. And she's there crying. They said, what do you have to tell Susie? She's so upset. I don't know, go to the zoo, right? Like, I don't know. I'm sorry. Like, that's all I got for you is I'm sorry, you know? I mean, it was terrible, guys. It was so bad. I went home that night. My wife will tell you if she was standing here today, she said, I looked at him and I thought I lost him. It was that bad. I've seen him defeated twice that bad. When Pierce got sick and when he opened the park. And all that played in my mind was how right everybody was. I'd like to stand up here and tell you that I'm some business tycoon that I was a steel chest and iron fists, and when it said, I'm still going to prove everybody wrong. Everything that was going on in my mind was, man, they were right. They were right. You did it. You flopped. Every single one that told you couldn't do it, they were right. So on Friday, I get up. I'm walking in the neighborhood, and I felt the Lord said, go back to work. Just go back to work. I did a 180 in the street. I left Melissa there with Pierce and Annie. I did a 180. I said, I got to go to work. We got into work, we hunkered down, we got after it, and slowly but surely we climbed out of this disastrous pit we were in. For a year, I'd go around town and people would see my logo and they'd go, man, it's such a bummer you guys closed. Like, we've been open for a year. We had to fight the marketing machine to get back out there that we were open, that we wanted you to come to our park, we wanted you there. And so we finally did it. 2 years in, business is going, people are coming, they're having birthday parties there. And guys, yes, our theme park, you can come and operate real construction equipment. I know, it blows people's mind. A 3-year-old, we're going to let him drive a real skid steer, a real excavator, a real UTV. We're going to go up in a boom lift. We're going to do all these kind of things. And we're going to have birthday parties and field trips, and it's amazing. And we finally were doing it. And then I got an email that said, hey, do you want to be on Shark Tank season 16? Delete. That's spam. I'm not going to answer that email. Get an email about an hour later, hey, do you want to be on Shark Tank season 16? So as any responsible businessman does, I create like a fake email account because clearly this is like a phishing exercise, right? They're going to take all my money, and like this is going to be real bad. So I reply and I say, yeah, sure. You can call me tomorrow at 2. Sounds great. So Ashley, she calls me at 2 o'clock the next day, says, hey, tell me your story. We've been following DigWorld from afar. Tell me your story. So I go through Pierce's story, how we built DigWorld, why we wanted to build DigWorld. And she goes, great. I tell you what, I loved this. It's rare that we do this, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and expedite you to the end, and we're going to go ahead and put you on the show in September. I said, I'm sorry, what show are you with again? And she said, Shark Tank. And I said, like the show? Like I got to go on there and pitch? And she said, yeah, we're going to put you on in September. And again, I'd like to tell you that I sat there and I said, bring it on, let's do it. Everything that went back in my mind with their 248. Everything that went back in my mind was that grand opening, replaying it over and over again. I said, why would you do that? Why would you go on that show? You're going to go on the show. You did it. You raised the money. You opened the park. You got it going again. It's working. You've come out of the trenches. Why would you go on the nationally televised show that's going to live on YouTube forever and be that guy that gets grilled by Mark Cuban? Why would you do that? Why would you go out there and pitch your heart and soul to these 5 people that you don't need money from just so they can cream you again and tell you how you don't know anything from anything? You know Mr. Wonderful is going to ask you an acronym that you have no idea, and you're just going to have to say a really good one. Like, that's going to happen, and then it's going to be on TikTok. Why would you do that, right? And so memory says, hey, thanks, but no thanks. Thanks, but no thanks. Been there, done that. Appreciate it. We're good. All that kind of stuff. Hang up the phone, and imagination and the Lord starts to kick in. It says, yeah, but what if? What if you go on that show and they say yes? What if you go on that show and you get to tell a story about Pierce? What if you go on that show and you get to tell the whole world about what we're building? I said, okay, we'll go on the show. So we got to go on the show. It's an amazing experience. We can talk about more of that later, but it was an amazing, amazing time. And so my third point as we wrap up today, I'm going to get out of here on time, is walk with elephants. A mentor of mine said one time, he said, Jacob, you need to walk with elephants. You need to find big people doing big things. You need to walk with them. And so we got to deal on the show. We got to deal with Robert Herjavec on the show. We have new partners at DigWorld with Dude Perfect, the YouTube brand. We have a new partnership that we announced this past Monday publicly with Caterpillar Global. It was crazy, guys. The CEO of Caterpillar was there. Caterpillar's done 3 big public deals: the NHL, the MLB, and DigWorld. So somebody's going to get fired. Probably. So we just signed the thing real fast. I just signed it before they realized what they did. And so, but that's who we get to walk with. We're trying to walk with elephants. And so my challenge to you is to walk with elephants. You're in a room with elephants. You're here today for a reason. Somebody drug you here. If you've been involved for a long time, whatever it may be, you're here for a reason. There are elephants all around you. There's elephants at your work. There's elephants at church. There's elephants all around you. My challenge to you is to walk with elephants. You're never too young or too old to walk with elephants. Find big people doing big things and walk with them. The Lord puts people in our lives so that we get to draw closer to him through them. And so that's my challenge to you. So today as we wrap up, I want you to dare to dream because it's free. I want you to operate out of imagination, not memory, and I want you to walk with elephants. Listen, challenges are going to come. I don't want you to sit here and think that my wife and I, we have this rosy life and it's easy and all this kind of stuff. It's hard. It's hard. I'll be transparent with you. It's very hard. I've got a 10-year-old son that's going to live with me the rest of my life. It's an ever-present thought in my mind of how to take care of him, how to provide for him, how to care for him when I'm gone. It's constantly. A lot of you in this room battle with that, know that struggle very well. I've got 2 other kids we're trying to raise. I'm trying to figure out how to be a good dad. I'm trying to figure out that line of discipline and love and all these kind of things that we're all trying to figure out. But challenges are going to come. You may be sitting in a challenge right now. You may be on the other side of a challenge. You may be about to go into a challenge. I want you to know today that the way the Lord spoke to me in 2017, the confidence that I have and the hope that I have in Jesus is because he's never off of his throne. I can't explain to you why Pierce got sick. I have a peace in my heart that the Lord has told me that I'll see one day in heaven. I won't get to know this side of heaven. I'm not the good father. I don't understand. In the same simple way that my 6-year-old daughter can't understand why she can't have ice cream for breakfast, is the same way that the Lord talks to me of, hey, you can't understand why I needed this to happen. But I know he was always on his throne. He never looked around confused. He never called his angels in and said, what happened down there? Who took their eye off the ball? It was never spinning out of control for him. And that's my challenge to you is your life is not spinning out of control and he doesn't know what's going on in your life. He's also a good enough, big enough father that he can have tough conversations with you. I think a lot of times we approach God as this, I can't really share my feelings because you're this almighty, holy God, and he is. But in the same way that I take comfort that the night before Jesus was crucified, he asked God if we could change the plans here, man. Could we maybe change it up a little bit? Then I surely can approach the Father and say, hey, I don't really like what's going on right now. And he's either going to say, hey, listen, I need you to stay right there, or we can change it. But he can handle big conversations. He can handle your anger. He can handle the pounding on the chest. He can handle those things. He is not with you. He is not in control at all times. And so as life storms come and go, I hope that you find confidence and hope in that. You don't need to go build a theme park. If you want to, come and talk to me afterwards. But you don't need to go build a theme park. Jesus just needs you to walk daily with him, one step at a time. So, thank you for listening to me today. I hope I see you at the park soon. We just announced on Monday we're opening up our second location in Dallas. In the next few months, we're going to be opening one in Austin later next year. And so we're on the move to grow, and we're going to see what the Lord has in store. I hope I get to see you at the park. I hope you get to bring your kids and your grandkids and your nephews and nieces and college friends and all of the above. But thank you for letting me be here today and tell you my story, how we got here today, and I hope that you leave today encouraged. I hope that you leave today challenged. And more than anything, I hope that you know Jesus. If you don't know Jesus, I'd love to talk to you about that. Troy would love to talk to you about that. If you have any questions about Jesus, John would love to talk to you about that. If you just need to meet Jesus again, I'd love to talk to you about that. Thank you for letting me be here today, and God bless.
Jacob Robinson. Let's give it up one more time for just so impactful. Actually, we have a couple of minutes here, and Jacob, I'm going to ask if you can come back up here for a sec. If there's anybody, we got a Q&A time here for just a few minutes. If you have a question you want to pose to him just about anything that you heard today, or just want to hear something further about what experiences you relate to, we can take the questions if they're already, and if not, that's fine too. But
just no mathematical questions.
Mathematical,
yeah.
no.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. All right, and we got Taker.
Yeah, great question. Austin will be open Q3, Q4 next year. We're going to be I say Austin, it's Round Rock. If you're in Austin, they'd want me to say Round Rock, not Austin. It's going to be in the parking lot at Kalahari Resorts there, so we're partnering with those guys. So Q3, Q4.
Wow, that's awesome. Right here.
What's your EBITDA?
That's a good question. Only reason I can look at you and tell you is because, man, it's funny you asked that. So that was after we got over the mental hurdle of, okay, you're going to go on the show. All jokes aside, I've gotten well-versed in the answers I need to know, but I cannot do mental math. Like, I cannot do it. Like, if you were to sit here and ask me a very simple equation, I would panic. And so that was my biggest fear going on the show. God's kindness to us was, once I got, again, over the hurdle of, okay, I'm going to go on this, I knew beyond a shadow of a doubt, there was no question that those 5 were going to ask me that some 248 people hadn't grilled me on already, except for when you start breaking down percentage structures. And I was like, oh, no. If they started doing that. And so, again, God was kind. What's funny about the show, so we filmed for 55 minutes. And a lot of people want to know about, as you see today, I need to move when I talk. I was very much instructed, you see this piece of tape? Do not move from the piece of tape. And so for 55 minutes, you're just doing this. And it was very, very stressful for 55 minutes. But yes, I can't answer that question now.
Yeah, that's good. All right, what's up? Any other? Right there in the middle.
Yeah, I've been to that Brookwood Community.
Yeah.
Is that just Pierce go there?
Yeah, it's a great question. We hope one day that he will live and work there. And so, again, crazy God story. Brookwood was founded because Yvonne Straight, years ago in the 60s, her oldest daughter got bacterial meningitis, just like Pierce. And everybody said different time back then, said, hey, you just need to put her away and just forget about her and go on living your life. And she said, I'm not going to do it. And so she created a school that then turned in to Brookwood, and it's an amazing, amazing place where adults with disabilities live and work and have great purpose in life. And so I hope so one day, yeah.
Yeah, and I'll just second that. If you don't know about Brookwood, go up and look it up on the internet when you leave. It's a phenomenal community of wonderful, loving God, men and women and young and kids, and they grow their own crops. They produce things. It's a great, healthy environment right there in Brookshire. Is it
Yep.
Brookshire?
Yep.
Right there in Brookshire, Texas. So, yes, Edward.
Yes.
Christmas
yes.
gifts, absolutely.
Yes,
They have a
absolutely.
store, of course,
Absolutely.
and you can support their ministry in that way. Anything else?
So how do you tell your insurance agent the policy that covers the theme park?
It's a good question. It's a good question. So I'll tell you a story real quick. So my insurance agent's my best friend from college. And these guys, he knows Chase. And if you had met Chase and I in college, well, honestly, if you still met us both today, in a normal environment, you would figure he'd be the theme park guy and I'd be the risk adjuster. Chase is the craziest friend that I have, and ironically, he underwrites all my risk. And so luckily, he was crazy enough to go, I'll go find the one company. And he found one company and worked them over for a while. And then my favorite story is we finally got the park open. Closed. We reopened it. He was back out there like a month after we were open with his kids. And his kid goes by driving the skid steer, and he goes, "Oh, he's actually driving that thing?" I was like, No. My premiums are staying the same. You already wrote it. Do not do this to me right now. And so, but yeah, now it's funny. It's funny the amount of people that come up to me in the park, and they're like, "Oh, I bet you don't even have insurance out here." I'm like, I've got insurance, guys. It's okay. You do sign your life away on a waiver that our lawyers came up with. But finding insurance was a battle.
Oh, that's good. That's good. A couple of them. Yeah, sorry.
How did you scale the company up when you came back after the closure?
Yeah.
Kind of like an hour and 45-minute waits. How do you get it down to 8 to 10? Like, did you have to buy a bunch more equipment? How did you scale up?
Yeah, it's a good question. So the problem was we had the right amount of equipment. It's a much longer story on how the mistakes that I made that got us there. We didn't have enough of the machines working to handle the amount of people that came. We underestimated how many people were going to come. So we had this like staged rollout plan that kind of got messed up a few weeks prior to that. And so we were like, oh, it'll be fine. Like we can kind of have this roll-in plan. And that was a terrible mistake on my part. So we just finally got everything online. But the way that we handled it that weekend is every single customer that had a ticket, we personally called and talked to and apologized. And some convos were great. Some people read me the riot act on it. But we started just going just one relationship at a time. But that's how we finally got everything working, which was a big help.
That's awesome. Yes, one more.
Yeah, could you talk a little bit about the strategy around the expansion opportunity you guys have and kind of what the criteria is on establishing or identifying new markets?
Yeah.
Secondly, the walk with elephants
Yeah.
concept, love it. As a fellow ag,
Yeah.
do you think it plays into the elephant walk goat?
It's funny. What's funny is a non-Aggie mentor gave me that advice, and what's funny is I refused to use it for a while because I was like, it's just way too close to A&M cheesy jokes. And then finally I was like, well, I don't have anything better, so I'll just go with that one. So the first question, so our strategy as of today, in a startup and a new business, you talk to me next week, the strategy might be different. But the strategy today is we get Dallas open in the next 3 months. And if you experience the Katy Park and the Dallas Park, you will experience the guts are the same, the attractions are the same. Aesthetically, it's going to be a completely different park, right? Like this is version 1.0 in Katy. Could we get the doors open? Does it work? Do people come? Can we book birthday parties? All that kind of stuff. Version 2.0 in Dallas, we've Dallas-fied it is what I kind of keep joking. We made it all fancy, Disney-esque, right? We're spending twice the amount of capital to build it. Once that one in March gets open and we know the changes that we've made have worked, we have a plan with our real estate team to roll out about 7 new markets. The thing that we're debating right now, and I was talking to John about this before here, is do we go the franchise route? Right now we're set up as a franchising company, and so the ones that we've sold are franchises already. Or do we go corporately owned? And that one we still wrestle with back and forth right now. And so right now we've identified, we have a team, the same real estate team that put Topgolf all around the country. They're trying to put us around, kind of follow those markets. And so they're identifying those markets for us and locations and, median income and all that stuff. So the rollout strategy is we've got probably the 7 markets identified that we want to go to over the next 5 years is the goal. Yeah, thank you.
That's great. Thank you so much. Let's give it up one more time for Jacob Robinson.